All right, let's dive into the science behind our feelings. We're going to explore why our emotions can feel so intense, so completely overwhelming sometimes. And we're going to see that it's not some kind of personal flaw. Nope, it's all about how your body is physically wired.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever felt totally hijacked by your emotions? One minute you're just going about your day, and the next, bam, you are hit by this massive wave of anxiety or anger that just feels completely out of your control. If you've been there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And here is the single most important thing to get your head around. That feeling, it's not just some thought you're having. It is a full-blown physical event happening inside your body. That racing heart, that tightness in your chest, that's not just a side effect of the emotion. In a very real way, it is the emotion. Now, this whole idea that our feelings are fundamentally physical is at the core of how we understand our emotions today. We used to think it was a really simple straight line. You have a thought, that thought causes a feeling, and that feeling makes you act. But what we know now is that our body's automatic responses play a much, much bigger role, and they happen way faster than we ever thought possible. This brings us to a really key concept called stress dysregulation. Okay, think of it like a smoke alarm in your house that's just way too sensitive. It's designed to keep you safe, right? But instead it gets stuck on high alert, blasting your system with adrenaline and oxygen for things that aren't actually life-threatening. This physical pump up is totally automatic, and it can completely change how you experience the world around you. So, to really understand why this happens, we need to go way, way back. We need to meet our inner caveman. See, our brains are running on some seriously ancient wiring built for survival in a world that looks nothing like ours. And this wiring has two key systems that are constantly in a tug of war. It's truly a tale of two brains. On one side, you've got your emotional brain, with the amygdala as the star player. This thing is your super fast automatic threat detector. It's all about fight or flight. Then, on the other side, you've got the rational brain, the prefrontal cortex. This is the slow, logical CEO of the brain, the part that's supposed to think things through. And this right here is the absolute heart of the problem. When you're dealing with stress and anxiety, that emotional brain sounds the alarm and kicks off a full physical response before the rational brain even gets a chance to look at the situation. Your body is already in full-blown crisis mode before the CEO even gets the memo that there might be a problem. So you can see how this react first, think later system creates a pretty major mismatch for us today. Our ancient alarm system, the one that was perfectly designed to save us from, actual predators, is totally out of sync with modern life. Here's the crazy part. Your brain really only has one playbook for threats. Whether you're face-to-face with a lion or you just have to give a presentation at work, the response is the same. It floods your system with adrenaline, it amps up your oxygen, and it gets your muscles ready for a physical fight. Now that's incredibly helpful for the lion, but not so helpful when you just need to have a difficult conversation. I just love this quote from the molecular biologist John Medina. He says, "Living with long-term stress from a job you hate or a tough relationship is like having a saber-toothed tiger at your door or even in your bed for years on end. Our bodies were built for a 30-second burst of terror, not for a never-ending siege." And if this is all starting to sound a little too familiar, I want you to know you are so far from alone. Just let this number sink in for a second. In the USA, studies show that somewhere between 1.25% of the entire population will deal with a diagnosable stress disorder at some point. It is a massive shared human experience that we just don't talk about enough. But, and this is a huge but, this is where the story takes a really empowering turn. It's not all doom and gloom, not even close. In fact, probably the most powerful truth to come out of modern neuroscience is that our brains are not set in stone. They can, and they absolutely do, change. This is it. This is the good news. And it's not just good news, it's incredible news. For centuries, we basically thought our brains were fixed once we hit adulthood, but science has proven that is just not true. Our brains have this amazing, almost magical capacity to change and adapt. The scientific name for this is brain plasticity, or you might hear it called neuroplasticity. It's just the brain's incredible ability to reorganize itself, to form new connections and new pathways based on what you do and what you learn. Every single time you practice a new skill, you are literally, physically rewiring your own brain. So let's reframe this whole thing. That intense physical reaction you feel isn't a sign that you're broken. It's just a sign that your system's data is getting scrambled for a minute. Think of it as a biological nuisance. And the great thing about a nuisance is that it's something we can learn to manage.
Okay, so if our brain can actually change, how do we do it? What's the path forward? How do we use this idea of plasticity to start taking back control from that overactive alarm system?
Well, all the evidence points to a pretty clear 4-step process. It all starts with just building awareness, simply noticing what your body is physically doing in those moments. From there, you can start applying proven techniques like from CBT to challenge your thoughts and reframe the situation. Then you work on actively regulating your body with things like breathing exercises. And the goal? You consciously practice these new skills over and over until they become your brain's new automatic habit.
And a really powerful mantra to keep in mind through all of this is pretty simple. Feelings are not facts. Just because you feel intense anxiety doesn't mean you're actually in danger. When we rely on our feelings to tell us what's real, it's a trap called emotional reasoning. And by its very nature, it's irrational.
So we'll end with this thought. Your feelings, they're just data. They're signals from your body. They are not directives that you have to obey. The real power, the real freedom comes when you stop letting them hijack you, and instead you start asking a totally different question. What will I choose to do with this data?